Hello everybody, welcome to a new video by Scarlet. I have a cold. Well, I have many things wrong with me, but it is probably just a cold. So we are playing TF2 on this map. Not a very good map, but it'll do. I prefer the Halloween version, it just feels a bit more normal, perhaps. This map seems a bit messy. There's a lot of junk everywhere, if you know what I mean. Probably not. Ah! He's bullying me! Oh, he's still there. Good job. Okay, so I'm fairly sure I had something to talk about in this video. There's TP here. Yes, I wanted to just talk a little bit about this competitive mode again. Because I have a funny feeling it's going to be nothing like what we thought. I think 9v9 will be a bit... Alright, so first let's talk about 6v6 and 9v9. They are the current competitive modes. 6v6 has never once been endorsed by Valve, but 9v9 has. I mean, we all remember that post on... Well, I remember. They posted it on their website that the 9v9 mode was becoming a thing. This fucking spy out of nowhere. Oh look, I won. Well, that's good. So there's 6v6 mode, which has never been endorsed by Valve, and 9v9 mode now. 9v9 mode is commonly seen as a bit of a joke by the competitive scene. It's not a bad mode, it's just... It has a couple of issues, and 18 players all fighting at once. I know this is a strong emphasis on the team, but it is a bit messy, it is a bit hard to organise, and if you're playing a lobby or something that isn't professional in a proper team, you're going to get AFKs, you're going to get players who are out of their skill level, out of their league, you're going to get people experimenting and playing different classes. Like, for example, I'm a pretty good scout, but throw me on Demo Man and suddenly I'm about... I can't even play half as well. So that means unless I have a separate skill level for each class, there's going to be some major discrepancy there. And I got a funny feeling that's going to be a problem of TF2. Like, it's the same in Dota 2. You can get really good at one hero, spam that over and over, get to really high MMR. And then you could play a couple of other heroes and your MMR starts to get lower because you're good at that hero and not as good as other heroes. There's a big emphasis on this as well because all the classes in this game are very, very different. Not even marginally similar. Well, we've got a couple of similarities here and there, but there's a big difference. I mean, the things I'm doing as a soldier, all these individual skill things, jumping as I'm firing, rocket jumping, it's all completely unique to this class. And it's a completely different skill set as to what a scout would have with double jumping, or a sniper would have with, you know, finding good position and aiming the scope. And of course, spy, completely different to everything ever. This isn't good. Look how many snipers there are. Alright, let's get out of here. I'm just worried that the mode might not work as successfully as some people are assuming. I am not entirely sure what Valve are going to do. They are not saying enough on it, and I think that's a big problem. This is something they should really be getting some feedback from the community from. They should be talking to the community about it, getting their ideas and opinions, and they're not doing that. It's been very quiet so far. And I think that's a mistake on their part. Now, I don't feel like it'll be 6v6, but I don't feel like it'll be 9v9 either. I feel it'll be a hybrid, a new mode, maybe 7v7 potentially. It is a mode that's been done before. 7v7 was the original 6v6, I believe. And the problem is it's going to be open to more classes, I guess. The format of 2 soldiers, 2 scouts, a medic and a doorman that wasn't decided by anyone. That's not a personal choice or a rule. That is the genuine best possible general loadout class setup for a team. It just works, and there are some limitations, of course, because you don't want too many doormen or too many medics, but generally that's the setup. Like, you can have 2 snipers, you can have 2 spies, you can have an engineer, only 1 engineer, because, well, that makes sense. You can have, I think it's just 1 heavy, maybe 2 heavies. I mean, heavy used to be a prime class, but the game isn't very well balanced, to be fully honest. There are imbalances. Heavy is not as good in most situations, though. Although situationally all classes shine, some classes are weaker than others, and competitive 6v6 format really shows this. Like, there have been times where I've run heavy non-stop in a 6v6 instead of scout, but I guess what I'm trying to say is there's going to be some big discrepancies here, because the game has always had this focus on pubs and being a bit gimmicky, a bit silly, a bit fun, and now suddenly they're trying to bring life back into the game, basically, because they realize, CS:GO, Dota 2, the competitive communities in that have just been so overwhelmingly successful and got such good feedback, and TF2 actually has one of the biggest and most open competitive communities there is. Like, there's so much potential here, and I've got a funny feeling it might already be too late. They've been throwing items and hats into this game for a long time. Also, pyro mains. There are classes people don't want to see in competitive. People who play 6v6 get frustrated by people who regularly play spy or pyro and abuse those classes, because, I mean, it's not a case of them being overpowered, it's just a case of them being annoying. They seem less competitive. They've got less of a skill ceiling and all that. I mean, spies are just annoying, man. Of course, the occasional spy pick is okay, but if you play competitive, you've all seen people who just kind of take the piss and just non-stop play a certain class, and it annoys everyone. Actually, it's not just bad for the enemy team. I'd like to point out, this is bad for both teams. If we're having an open format where people can play whatever class they want, we're gonna have people who are selfish and play the wrong classes. At least it still happens in TF2 lobby, but at least people have a respect about it, because you're encouraged to play the right classes, and you can get reported after games if you mess around too much. If the TF2 system isn't if it doesn't have enough of these features and enough of these things in measures in place, we're gonna have a couple of issues with the overall how things work, the overall flow. Gosh, having a cold sucks. Okay, so I am excited, but at the same time I'm worried. Oh dear, a kid. I want this to work, but like I said, if Valve don't talk to us and ask us not what we want and what should be done, because honestly, Valve don't seem to have a very good idea of how to balance their own game. There's so many things going wrong with this game. Like, there are so many useless weapons, like this one. This is just the worst. The Eureka effect is just atrocious. The game isn't being balanced correctly, which is why there are so many bans and limitations in competitive. Oops, what the hell? Oh no. Lag. There's a spy. Now, the game is great, alright? Just playing a soldier and being able to jump all around, there's such a high skill count. Like, even that jump, it got to me exactly where I wanted to, but it wasn't an amazing jump. I still took 4 damage from that. I mean, I'm playing well, but the skill cap in this game means I can play even better. They got a teleporter. But, oh no, the classic sniper. I mean, the classic is a direct downgrade. And then we've got other weapons which are, although negligible, direct upgrades. I mean, even the bone saw is useless now. No one's going to use the bone saw. There are a lot of things, Valve. They need to put their foot down and make these big changes. Like, Dota 2, they get big patches. This could happen. We need balance. We need changes. We need experimentation. We need to see what happens if this weapon has this change, or if the spy has an extra 25 health, or if spy cloaks. I mean, there are imbalances and there are problems, and we need to start having, like, we can't just stagnate with the same thing after 7 years, because it will never be right. The game will never be balanced, but you can at least try to balance it. And no attempt has been made. It's like Valve just forgot about this game. I mean, there have been lots of big exciting updates where all we've gotten is 63 brand new cosmetics. At this point, no one cares. They're all the same. Nice. Ah. So, I think if this is going to work, Valve really need to put their foot down and turn this into a real competitive game. They might, although silliness and pub fun is always going to be a big part of the game, because that's just how it's been for so many years, we need to make sure that the competitive works and appeals just as much as the non-competitive side as well. They both need to be good, basically. They both need to be respected as much as each other, and generally balance is important for both sides. We can't have heavies running around with overpowered loadouts. We can't have weapons just blatantly better. In competitive, there's always the same loadouts. There are very few ways to go around it. There are weapons and items better than others. And generally, in sixes, it's the default. Like, I may be saying, oh, these weapons are stupid and overpowered, but I'm not really using them. Like, direct hit is very frustrating if you're 125 health class, because it instantly kills you. The airstrike is just stupid. Beggar's Bazooka's frustrating. It's these weapons that they're not really serious enough, I think. And if you're using the Beggar's Bazooka in a 6v6, you're gonna get trolled, and you're probably gonna do bad. And if you do good, well, you're gonna piss off everyone then. Countermangler is just... why? No random critical hits is something that needs to go. I'll give you an example. So, the Scout. People say the Scout unlocks are really powerful, like the Babyface Blaster, the Pocket Boy's Pretty Pistol. No, the Pretty Boy's Pocket Pistol. This weapon is pretty overpowered if there are no pyros, and in most competitive scenes there are no pyros. This is an unbalanced weapon. Critical Collar makes you do 35% more damage and take 25%. That makes you move 25% faster. That is pretty overpowered too. It lets you one-shot medics. It lets you one-shot anything, actually. And you know, it's not 35% double damage. It suddenly becomes double damage to a good Scout. It's the difference between a one-shot and 2 shots. It's the difference between you reacting and avoiding a second shot, skill level, or not. An item like Bonk Tonic Punch is situationally useful. Mad Milk, definitely not. Mad Milk in competitive will just ruin heavies. Makes them useless. The Winger is kinda cool. The Winger's probably the only decent unlock. The Boston Basher, it's an interesting one, but the Atomizer is blatantly overpowered. That triple jump, good scouts will abuse the heck out of that. That is just banned. It just has to be banned. The reserve shooter is ridiculous. Basically, a good pyro will be doing 35% more damage, always. And that's enough damage to pretty much kill everything. The panic attack doesn't even look good. They didn't even try with that one. No, I guess it looks okay. But that picture, what the heck's going on with that? It's not even the same as the other ones. The reserve shooter is pretty broken, to be fair. The power jack is a bit of a blatant upgrade, to be honest. No one has a reason to use the fire rats. All of these are better. I mean, even the neon annihilate is better. I mean, damage remove zappers. It's really, really good. The 3rd degree, a direct upgrade. Although fairly useless and situational, a direct upgrade. Lock and load. Forget lock and load. No one likes it. Demo Night is the worst. Like, they just keep nerfing sticky launches, and they just keep buffing the shields. The shield's blatantly broken now. Like, wow. That's so much resistance against damage. It's not even funny. Like, if you have the Islander and a charging charge, you can get up to 600 effective health against fire and explosive damage. Be immune to afterburn. Like, only bullets can kill you at that point, and you have like the same health as a heavy. That's not balanced, I'm afraid. Engineer weapons, well, the ones that aren't useless. Well, to be fair, engineer weapons are pretty good. Thompson is fairly frustrating and probably shouldn't be allowed. I mean, that can be abused. Medic is such a fundamental part of the game. Oh god, I'm ranting so hard. I'm gonna wrap this up. Heavy. No one even looks at these. It's default sandwich, this or the Gru, sometimes, depending on the map. I've never seen anyone really run a chocolate bar. Medic, crossbow, usually, all the medic guns are good, except the vaccinator, no one cares about that. And usually it's just the Ubersaw, no one uses the Vidasaur anymore, like, minus 10 health, no thanks, that's like, crazy. Who wants that? Sniper, I don't see why you'd use anything except the crossbow or the default. Machina, maybe? But I don't see why you would. It's like 15% bonus damage on a full charge? Who cares? You're just doing it for the E-Beam because it gives you projectiles that penetrate people. Girati, Razorback, Shield. I mean, these are good, but the shield is pretty broken. And a Razorback, to be fair, probably shouldn't exist. Like, that's just a bit unfair, really, I think. Weapons shouldn't have been made in the first place. Bushwhacker Droid combo is really, really broken. Like, 20% fire damage vulnerability on the person who stands all the way at the back. That's the disadvantage of this. Of course, it's to deter people from snipers from abusing the Girati combo and running into people, but if they don't have a pyro, you don't have a single disadvantage. Forget no random crits. We're ignoring that. Who gives a damn about random crits? They're not going to be in this competitive mode, and if they are, no one's going to play it. Hang on. And to quickly wrap this up, we've got the spy weapons. They're a bit more interesting, because spy is a bit of a more unique class, but spy's score is pretty much a direct upgrade. Generally, if you set on fire, you're gonna die. So, fireproof once again. Why is that in the game? Reskin. Reskins just seem like a waste of time. The, the spy weapons are kind of cool. The big urner's probably the only one that isn't any use. The red tape recorder probably a little broken, because if you combine that with a team, you can sap it, disable it, and it becomes a low level while the enemy attacks, so it actually gives you more. Of course, this is a team-based game. Sapper's better if you're going to be a lone spy in a pub, but as soon as you reach competitive, red tape recorder has got some serious team potential. Oh, the Diamondback is probably a bit overpowered, yeah. No random crits once again. Needs to be rebalanced. All these no random crits things need to be rebalanced hard. Oh, I didn't know they gave you plus 40% cloak duration. That's pretty cool. Anyway, thank you for watching this little rant about balance, I guess. I'll see you on the next video. Hopefully I'm feeling a little better.